Hello everyone, welcome back to Trek A Day, and continuing on with my top 50 favorite characters from Star Trek, we have at number 13, Seven of Nine. I've been very happy to see Seven of Nine become hugely popular over time, and really seeing that as her character came back in Star Trek Picard, particularly in that third season, and the outpouring of people wanting to see that Captain Seven concept on the Enterprise G, that Star Trek legacy idea. Because she has always been one of my absolute favorite characters. She was a character who, when she first came into Star Trek Voyager, could very easily just have been someone there for eye candy with her looks and the outfits they were putting her in, and I do think there's a segment of the fandom that still struggles to see beyond that. The same thing with a character like T'Pol, who I talked about earlier on this list. But she instantly grew beyond that. I mean, pretty immediately, both through the writing and Jerry Ryan's performances, to be, I think, one of the best written and most nuanced characters within Voyager, particularly in the later seasons as a lot of the focus turned towards her. And many of my favorite episodes of Voyager focus on a lot of very Seven-focused storylines and some spectacular performances. She is my personal favorite in that journey of discovering humanity type Star Trek character. Someone like Data, who aspires to be more human, admires and is curious about humanity, and wants to evolve in his own form to be more like human. And you have a character like the Doctor on Voyager, who it's not necessarily about discovering wanting to be more human, but more in the expansion and the betterment of one's self, and stretching and redefining how we determine what is human, what is independent, sentient life. It's different perspectives on that, and what Seven then is more about reclaiming her humanity, dealing with trauma, looking back on who she used to be as Annika Hansen, who she was forced to be as the Borg drone, and how those inform who she is now, not trying to become who she might have been in a different life, but realizing who she really is as a culmination of the good and bad aspects of her lifetime. And I loved how that journey of discovery was portrayed, and particularly how she acts and reacts to different crew members. Her and B'Elanna's interactions, their tense relationship is one of my favorites, and then of course the motherly relationship that she has with Janeway as she really takes her under her wing, and seeing how those relationships change over time, and that eventually as the Doctor becomes a bit of a mentor, and Seven then becomes a great catalyst for keeping the Doctor's character interesting, as he has had that sense of self-discovery and growth to the point where he is now become the teacher of humanity rather than the student of that self-discovery and that type of journey. And even adding in characters like Naomi Wildman, I really liked that relationship, and I think that helped her come to terms and grasp a lot of herself and her emotional ability to be more emotional, more openly emotional as things moved on. So I just really loved the character progression of Seven of Nine, and that of course continued on in very tragic fashion in the books when they came back to the Alpha Quadrant and Seven, having to deal with that situation. It's different than what would then be portrayed in Picard and those iterations, but even that is still a very interesting and fascinating journey for that story. So no matter what, I feel like the character of Seven of Nine is always taken in very interesting directions. So Seven will always be one of my all-time favorites.